Excellent. Thank you, Simon. When we consider the rich diversity of people living on our planet today, people with different colour skin, different hair types, if they've got hair, how did this become the case when we start off with one man and one woman, Simon?
Yeah, it's a common question, David. If Adam and Eve were the first couple, where did we all come from? How do we see different shades of skin in the world? Well, the more creation scientists look at the text of Genesis and look at genetics, they would argue that Adam and Eve would probably have been middle brown. They wouldn't have been pasty white like me, or they wouldn't have had a darker skin from someone maybe who comes from Africa. They would have been somewhere in between, which was why when they had their children, they would have had a rich diversity of children, anywhere from looking like me to looking like someone maybe who comes from the continent of Africa, because they would have had that variation in their genetics, because they probably would have been middle brown. Now, as you fast forward in history, you get to the Tower of Babel, because people will say, well, where did all the different races of people come from? And we really need to think about that term race, because actually the Bible tells us that there is only one race, the human race, and we're descendants of Adam. And so the reason we see different people groups in the world with different features is because at Babel, when man rebelled against God again, God had to disperse the nations. And as those nations go around, they get locked into different places, and they're going to sort of, develop the same traits, the same skin shade, not color, because we all have the same color. We all have the same middle brown melanin, just some have more or less. But as you fix people in certain locations, they're going to have the same shade of skin, the same looks on their faces, that sort of thing. And so Babel really helps us understand why we see different people groups in the world today. But it's consistent with what we read in the text of Genesis, that God originally created Adam and Eve and then dispersed the people at the time of the Tower of Babel.